Day is January 27th at 7 p.m. We have
Still.
have a quorum present, and so we'll call the meeting to order. This meeting is being held in a hybrid format. Members of the public who wish to participate to this meeting may do so in person or via Zoom. The meeting agenda has the link for the Zoom. Our meeting materials are posted on the Warrant Committee website, and this meeting is being recorded. Okay, so we have agenda tonight is our approval of the minutes. We'll talk about the calendar. And then we have a number of departments on the municipal side that will go through their Prop 2.5 budgets for 27. And then we'll have a discussion about rating agencies and get a new update on the guidance for fiscal 27 on the budget. We'll talk about the school committee meeting, and then we'll talk about our we're going to sort of this year assign sort of a lead person to the warrant articles, and so we'll talk about my first attempt at assigning those, and then I get this committee updates. So, did everybody get a copy of the minutes that went around?
Roll call.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Ed. All right, let's do a roll call.
Ed Vizella present.
Elizabeth Kelly present.
Joe Hunt present.
Steve Callahan present.
Brent Nelson present.
Emily McCabe present.
Peter Michelson present.
And is Ashley online?
iPhone 129 use their hand. Is that Ashley?
Yeah, why don't you admit that person to the so they can speak.
Is this Ashley?
It is. It's me. I'm here.
Okay, great.
I'm present remotely.
I
Awesome.
thought you were a Zoom bomber. I read it immediately, but we're good.
Excellent. Okay. Everybody got a printout of the packet, right? So so the first order is the minutes of January 13th. And that we have a draft that was sent around. I guess Pete prepared. I sent around. Are there any comments or questions or anything at all in those minutes? I thought they look good. Yeah.
Well, they look good as a Brittany. I edited them based on my handwritten notes, but I didn't have time to go through the full tape,
Yeah.
the recording. So
Okay.
hopefully they came out after.
Okay. All right. Well, if there aren't any comments or questions, I'd entertain a motion to approve those minutes for the January 13th, 2026 meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes of January 13th, 2026 meetings.
Second.
Okay, let's do a roll call. So
Yay.
Yes.
Yes.
Steve Callahan, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And Ashley's a yes. Okay, great. All right. So on our calendar, I don't know if you could can you put that up? Can you do the calendar? But basically, tonight we're hearing our first round of departments on the municipal side, and then the rest of the departments, hopefully we can get through on February 10th, our next meeting. On the 24th, the school department will come in and present their budget. Then we have the 10th and the 24th. I did send an email out to the 10th and the 24th are for all the other articles that we have to deal with, and there's quite a long list this year. So I sent an email out we had 2 citizen petitions on the warrant this year, offering the both those dates. Peter Saladino got back to me and said that he would like to come in on March 10th. So I confirmed that date with him, but I have not heard from Christian. Is he still?
I don't know. I know that they were working with the other committee.
Okay. All right. Well,
Once Maria comes in here, we can ask her.
okay.
Is she?
Yeah.
Oh, she's not sure, but, she's not sure. Okay.
You're not sure. Okay. All right. Okay then. All right. And then our hearing is on the 31st. Okay. And I have a feeling we're going to need the April 6th meeting, so hold that in your calendar. And our town meeting is on the 4th. That should be May 2026. That's a typo. Sorry. May 4th, 2026. So any questions on the calendar? That's kind of the plan of action. All right, so we have a number of municipal departments that will go through the 2027 Prop 2.5 guidance. And what you'll hear tonight is it will be the guidance that we provided, the 1.3% department growth. Overall, some of these budgets will be over that. So a lot will be under it. So, but you'll hear about that. We won't have the 2028 budgets yet. That'll come at another meeting. And then the select board is going to discuss the prioritization of any cuts at their next meeting next week. The next time we meet, we'll have the town's prioritization of cuts and the 2028 budget. Okay. Any questions on that?
I was just, I got a little lost in it. So by the next meeting, we'll have the town's prioritization of,
Cuts to the 27 budget
okay,
from a level service budget.
okay.
So I mean, tonight you'll
So there
hear
will be no discussion.
you'll hear about the cuts. You just won't know which ones prioritized where.
Okay.
But you'll hear about any cuts in any
And
of the
we,
departments.
will there be discussion, I have a feeling the answer to this is no, of if there's an override, this will get what gets. added
Not
back
tonight.
in?
No, we won't have that tonight.
Okay,
So this is really just dealing with the
the
Prop
1.3%,
2.5, yeah,
yes.
budget, yeah. Okay. How do you want to proceed? Do you want to go in the order that the agenda has? Since Mo's got a very busy schedule, he's been busy the last couple
Probably
of days.
more tired than all of us, so I would recommend he go. Do you want me to share, or what do you want me to do? Do you want me to share it on the screen? It's hard to see but whatever you want to do.
Well, it's online, right? So
Yeah.
if somebody wanted to, yeah, I guess you don't need to.
I'm just gonna stop sharing for now.
We all have a printed version of
Yeah.
it, so. Okay, Mo, come on up. Thank you and your department for all your hard work.
Thank you. They deserve all the credit. I just get the attaboys, but it's really them that deserve the credit.
Yeah.
I'm there for support and running the mini loader once in a while to clear the parking lot, so. How would you like me to proceed?
However you would like to. I guess we have the budget here, and we have a memo too.
Yep.
From you.
So if I do the 27 additions and for the budget and then go over the cuts after that?
Yep.
That work for you?
Sure. Yep.
Okay. I do understand it's going to be a tough next few years, and trying to be as level budget as I can with the 27 requests. But as far as highway salaries, looking to add $5,000 for salaries only because for overtime, a lot of tasks are asked of us to try to do more and more with properties and with our newly formed grounds division. So we're not really there yet. So we just need that extra money to help subsidize some of the salaries, some of the work that we do.
Where do we, I'm looking at the financials in front of us, where do we see that? How is it?
Yeah, I was.
Where does it go with that?
I don't know where it's
I'm
from.
just trying to find.
There's a 88,672.
On the highway budget, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah,
Is that the, is that what you're talking about, the salary, 8,000 number?
the highway salary is of 5,000, but it gets added in with the increases in their step and,
Oh,
So that's the 86,787.
yes, so 5,000 of that would be added.
okay.
Gee.
Sorry about that.
I should know this one, but I don't. How many full-time employees do you have?
I have 30 full-timers, 1 part-time, 3 part-timers actually. Okay, as far as grounds maintenance, that 5,000 addition was put in there because of the more properties that we're looking to take care of. We're hoping to get an additional employee for this next year to be put into that grounds division. So the anticipation for that was to add money into that budget for materials and extra costs that would be needed for the grounds. We don't know where we're at with that yet, as far as,
Hold on just a second.
Yep.
So you're talking about the grounds maintenance and, you know, which line item are you talking?
I think you can start at trees and go down.
Oh.
That's how they have it in their packet.
okay. Sorry, this is all highway. There's nothing in trees.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah, they just want to talk, yeah, I would just go down and talk about your, I
All right.
don't know if you have them in the same row.
We have operating expenses, and there's an increase in ground maintenance and supplies of 5,000, but
Yep.
then in the reduction column, there's also a 5,000.
Yes. Okay, I'm just gonna go through the additions first and then I'll go into the cut.
Okay,
Sorry about that.
sorry.
All right. I'm gonna throw this away. Okay, so ground maintenance, 5,000 for maintenance and supplies. We go down to, it's still in highway, under police special details. We've been doing more and more work on the roadways and construction projects, looking for additional monies for police details. Contract public works services, an additional $20,000 for, we were tasked with the pet maintenance, the pet waste maintenance at the Medfield State Hospital. So was not in our budget, so we're trying to compensate for that this year and have to add it for next year.
So that 20,000 is for, all of it is for the state hospital.
Correct.
Pet waste.
Yes.
What's the total for that? Is it 20 or?
Yes, it's 20.
Okay.
Wait, who was doing it before? Like,
So a little context on that. So we did not offer the service prior to about a little over a year ago.
Mhm.
And the select board determined that they wanted it done and we did not have an appropriation for it. So we basically essentially made a cut to Mo's budget to be paying that out of Mo's budget.
okay.
Yeah.
But they're little like places that you guys are.
There's
picking up,
15,
like,
15 pet waste.
You're not actually like walking the ground.
We are not picking it up. We have a private company.
The private company is going to pick up stations.
All 15
Not
stations.
Walking the corner.
Correct.
Yeah.
Gene Minio does that. Sadly. Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Go.
The 25 actuals haven't been put in here yet. Is that why everything ends at a 0? Everything's even.
There's no increases in those particular line items. Is that what you said?
Budget in,
What line item are you looking at?
I was the 25 actual,
Like the whole row.
the whole column of under 25 actual. They're all even dollar numbers. I just think.
Year to date
The
kind of
actuals
thing?
haven't been put in yet.
Right. You're talking about the year to date for the 20, no.
The full year.
Oh, for the full
25.
year.
That'd be the
It looks
budget.
Just round it up.
Yeah. It looks just like the budget. maybe.
On the next page, a lot of it.
Yeah, next page it seems. Right, so.
Good catch.
Bless you.
Well, they're just looking at the year before was 1,470,000, and then it jumped the budget to 1,610,000, and then to 26, maybe, why does that say? 6, that's the budget, not actual.
I probably just,
Okay.
25 and 26 must be budgets.
Right.
Is it just for that operating expense section, or is it, looks like it is, Ed, just that?
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like it's.
So can you get that for us, the actuals for
Andrew
those,
can get that, he'll put that together for
for
you.
just the operating expense?
Absolutely.
okay. We jump down to equipment repair and maintenance. Everything else is level with no additional monies added. Equipment repair, 2850 for equipment repair salaries. Oh, that's just for their regular increases in their class and comp pay. Same thing with longevity. Go down to solid waste, the salaries from that as well. Grounds and maintenance, building maintenance, that was added 5,000. That building's starting to fall apart. All of the different aspects of that building we're replacing over the years. So a new fire panel, a lot of work on the building itself to keep it functional.
So what building is this?
This transfer station,
Oh.
the solid waste tip floor. That's just an old metal building with a lot of issues.
That 5,000 increases.
Yes.
Maintenance cost.
Yeah.
Go back for one thing.
Sure.
The snow and ice budget back on the next right page, 110,000.
The snow and ice budget is a total of 200 and,
That's the salary, yeah.
That's the snow. Okay.
yeah, it's 110,000.
That's the salary. I'm
Yep.
sorry.
And then the expenses would equal to altogether 293,440. So the solid waste disposal, an additional 5,000 in the tipping fee, anticipated increases in tipping fee costs for the solid waste removal and recycling costs. As far as the cemetery, nothing added except for the normal step raises in the longevity pay for the salaries in there.
So that's kind of the, what we call like level service. What you just went through to get to level service, okay. So it's 61,000 in total.
So the water, if we go to water department, as far as the increases,
Where is that one?
This-
After the memo?
so the water and the sewer are both enterprise funds. Utility, telephone at $500. We have a lot of, we use a lot of iPads for the guys with the GIS. We also have an increase in telephone costs, so they added $500 for that division. $6,000 added for contract services for engineering support. Additional engineering support that we're desperately in need of over the year. 3,000 in lab fees. Lab fees have gone up and up every year. We have more and more to sample, more and more to get analyzed down at the labs. As far as the sewer division, $10,000 added for anticipated electricity costs. We do get credits, and because we own the panels at the treatment plant, so we get the SREX back.
Is that
shows it.
Is that netted in here, or is that separately accounted for? Do you know?
It's in revenue, so it goes back into revenue. It doesn't go back into the operating budget. So we need to keep up with that in our operating budget.
You know how much? Whether I assume it's not 100% offset, right? So we're not getting credits equal to all. Yeah. What percentage do we recoup from the panels? You know.
I'd have to pull out the analysis from last year.
I'm not sure.
Off the top of my head.
DPW does.
That's nearing its end of like,
What's that?
The DPW does. That,
yeah.
that one.
The DPW, the garage does, we're actually, making more off the,
Okay,
more credits on. the
more
garage
than
solar
what's,
than
okay.
we use, yeah.
Is it maybe because the panels are old or?
It's a different arrangement
Okay.
than the ones at the
Okay,
treatment plant.
okay,
Because we have a power purchasing agreement, so.
Yeah,
it's a little
okay,
different.
okay.
And, again, $500 to add to the telephone for sewer as well. Same thing as the water, and $10,000 for inflow and infiltration to continue on with our studies. As you may know, inflow and infiltration is leaks in our sewer system that gets groundwater, goes to our treatment plant. We end up treating partially clean water, which we don't want to do. So with the inflow and infiltration, we've developed projects throughout the town to reduce the amount of inflow and infiltration in our system. Infiltration comes from cracks in the pipes, manhole covers, things like that. The groundwater comes up, infiltrates in. The inflow is, a lot of it is mostly illicit connections, people connected by some pumps that are not supposed to be there, things like that. So we're doing more and more investigation. We've got a couple projects we're looking at to hopefully severely cut the amount of I&I. You will never get rid of it, but it's the more you reduce it, the less it's going to cost you at the treatment plant.
Yeah.
So that's an important thing for us. So that's all of the asks for 2027. I can go over the what we're looking at for cuts. I think you all have a copy of the memo I had.
While Mo's doing that, he and I met on Friday for a solid hour and a half before the storm. And I would say the biggest takeaway from our discussion is that a lot of these cuts are possible, number one, because they do have a little bit larger of a budget, but that these are meant to be temporary. They can help the town out given the budgetary restraints that they've got. But a lot of these cuts are to services, materials, equipment that will need to be replaced, in the next couple of years. Otherwise, we're going to see, quality of life issues in the longer term, but, in the shorter term, they can help the town and everybody else meet this kind of budget shortfall. If there's no other takeaway, I think that's the big one from our.
It's definitely a short-term fix. It's like Joe said, we talked a lot about it, which, we're having a large budget doesn't mean that, we have the ability to just take money out and not place it, but we do have the flexibility to adjust where needed. So, but with a short-term fix, I did put in my memo, if these were to be cut and then restored, I do have them in order of importance to our public works operation. So, as far as vehicle and equipment repair, deduct 24,750. I explained a little bit about capital has been very good to us over the years, the last several years, and we've, it's kind of taking chances, but we feel confident that our equipment's in good shape. We have a good preventive maintenance program with our mechanics. They do a great job of keeping everything on the road and maintaining when they're supposed to. I think that, with that for a year, we can definitely make that cut in hopes that, nothing major goes wrong with the equipment. And, we're pretty confident in that. Tree service, it's a small, minimal $2,500 cut, but, thinking about trees, I don't know if you noticed over the past several years, we've had a lot of more windstorms. We had a lot more damage. We have Tree City USA, which is kind of a good and a little bit of a curse sometimes. So we do have a lot of trees that come down, not because of lack of maintenance. It's more about the environment having all these trees together and the severe storms that we've been getting. So So that's a concern in the future, but something that we can help out with a small cut there. Highway materials, it's one of our largest line items. 27,500 sounds like a lot of money, but it's a small percentage of what we actually have. And like I was talking to Joe about, our budget is kind of fluid. It's not, we're going to buy 100 computers and 50 before December and 50 afterwards, where you have, you're 50% through the budget December 31st. We can't really count on that. Ours is determined by equipment, personnel, the weather. So that all, factors in. If, we plan on spending $80,000 of that in paving in the spring, we have a really wet spring. We're not able to do that. Doesn't mean that we want to cut that money, but it's something that we want to do. Sometimes we can't do it because of certain factors that happen during the course of the year.
In Medfield, we rank top 10% of the state for our roadway surface rating. So
Right now.
So a cut to this,
Right.
Helps the budget, but also the longer term impact of this not being restored is takes down.
We did a graph a few years back, and the capital committee has been really good about giving us extra money. We get about $412,000 in Chapter 90 every year, and that's what we use for our roadway work. The capital gives us an additional monies to help with the budget. If we were just to use that $412,000 per year, I think Brandon, you've heard this story before, is our roadway surface would across the town would deteriorate because we're not spending enough money on our roadways. If we spend about $750,000, we kind of stay status quo. If we go up to 1.2 million, we're increasing our roadway surface rating. Right now, we're in the high 70s, low 80s. That's where our surface rating is. It's probably the top 10% of Massachusetts. There are some communities that get $2.5 million more from their town, and they're up in the high 80s. So we're not asking for that, but
So the 10th out of like 351?
yes, we're in,
Percent or 10%?
we're in the top 10%.
10%, not number.
Yeah, not-
It's not 35, so that's been fantastic.
Still
350,
great.
yeah.
Yeah, so we use Beta Group, our engineering consultants. They keep track. They come and do our survey of our roadways every so many years. They look at the methodologies that we use. They figured all that in. Every year after the first year, it goes to 100% after you redo the road. After that, it deteriorates very quickly. The idea that in our pavement management is once we get the roads good, we want to keep them good. We don't want them to deteriorate to a point where we're spending the money over and over and over again. So we do different methodologies to keep those roads in good shape. So that, we have a good rapport with them. We have a good program, and so far it seems to be working. So, don't mean to get off track, but sidewalk materials. This is for sidewalk maintenance, not for new sidewalks. So there is a big distinction. Our guys do a lot of rehab sidewalk work during the year. If you look at the Flintlock neighborhood, there's a big Flintlock Lane was done to rehab. We've done a lot of different subdivisions. We try to do it before we go in and do some kind of surface improvements. So that's a big thing. We have a lot of sidewalks in town. We want to make sure that we would like to put sidewalks everywhere. That's a goal, but it's really not practical at this time, but we're looking to get more and more sidewalk money to build new sidewalks. We just got a $500,000 complete streets grant that we're doing some sidewalk work. But this money is to rehab some of the existing sidewalks that we have. It's not that I want to cut that, but desperate times call for desperate measures. For a year we can, put our forces to doing other things, but because we'll be putting in new sidewalks, so the maintenance can be put aside for a year. But we do want to make sure that we add to that in the future.
So in addition to this, you have a grant.
We have a grant.
But do you get that annually?
No, that's a one-time deal right now. But
Did you say it's 400?
500,000.
500,000.
So
Wow.
That's for new sidewalks.
Right, yeah.
This
That's
is
good.
this is for maintenance.
Right, okay. Yeah.
So we're trying to do what we can to put in new sidewalks, make new connections to get more neighborhoods connected to the center of towns, to the schools, the parks, the playgrounds, things like that.
Yeah.
Grounds maintenance, put 5,000 in, deducting 5,000 out. Because we not, doesn't look like we're gonna get a second employee right now, with the times being the way they are. So, want to take that out. Contracted public works services, 22.5, that was, cutting out the pet waste and the, an additional 2,500 for contract public works services. Public works services for highway, we try to, have things designed, trying to do a lot of the projects that we do, we try to do in-house. We have a lot of talented individuals that work for the DPW. We can do a lot of work in-house. It saves a good amount of money. But that contract public works services is for some engineering support to help us get those projects up and running.
So this is not the waste, or is this the? This is the pet waste. Okay. Yeah.
So I'm now officially confused.
Yep.
Is the pet waste out? We're not doing it in
Well,
the next fiscal year?
It's really a tough decision because, you know, the pet waste is something that is more of a, maybe not as a necessity, more of a, you know, to accommodate, you know, some of the dog walkers at the state hospital. But with the serious cuts, we'd rather not cut personnel. I think it's, you know, was never there before. I think that we're in a spot where is it that important to the town to continue, or is it something that, you know, is something that we should be looking at to, it's a lot of money to do that. And it's an expensive process because, you know, there are companies that do it, and, you know, they have to dispose of it. It's disease ridden at times. It's, you know, they do have to have a lot of shots and can, you know, just like our wastewater sewer people, you know, it's not the most, you know,
Are there health risks to that?
there are health risks with that waste. So, number 7, I get repair
Does
culvert.
that answer your question?
Not really, so it's out.
So it is out.
It's out.
These are all cuts.
These are all proposed cuts.
So these are, so
If there's no over.
they're proposing to cut that, okay?
Okay.
What you heard before was the level service increase.
Right.
Now he's saying he wants to cut it. Okay.
Um,
Go ahead.
Repair culverts, dams and bridges. This $5,000 was always in our budget. When we do repairs on dams, culverts and bridges, we do spend the money, but a lot of times it gets paid out of our highway materials. This is kind of a line item that we use that money to subsidize the budget, but we never really put it under that category. I don't know why, but so if we can, it's time to cut the budget items that we don't use, even though we could use the money to subsidize when we do these repairs, but it gets paid out of highway materials. Okay, so it's just a line item that, you know, I don't, our administrative staff, for some reason, they can't distinguish which is that line item because it comes in as repairs, but doesn't really say culverts, dams or bridges, source materials and things like that. So taking
So it
it,
won't be on the budget going forward. It's
yes,
just an
I'm
additional
gonna take that line item out
fund.
regardless. Right.
Got it, okay.
Medical service and supplies. You know, it's important to our staff to have everything available. We have multiple, we're talking with Joe about this one. We have multiple areas in our DPW Public Works garage. For a reason, they're in multiple locations, but for a year, we can consolidate them to $600, but it's to fill our first aid kits and all of our, you know, bandages and eye flushing, you know, bottles and things like that. But we do have multiple locations in our Public Works building that we can consolidate into one for the time being, and then hopefully we can get that back to, you know,
For obvious reasons, if you've got an active bleed, you don't want to have to run 200 yards to find the nearest first aid kit.
But it's doable.
Yeah,
Or call the ambulance, or call the
there you go.
Meals, another one of those line items that was stuck in our budget for a long time that's never gets used. When we have meals, it's mostly for snow and ice for the guys when they work in 30 hours like this past storm. So I'm just gonna clean that up and cut that out. So, but those are the deductions that we're looking at for.
So Mo, these reductions, this is the order that they appear here. So like the meals would be
Last to be restored.
last to be restored.
Correct.
Okay.
So that the priorities.
So the vehicle equipment is the first to be.
Correct. Yep.
And, okay, that's helpful. And these add up to,
93,150.
93,000?
Yep.
150. Okay,
But just for the record, that would mean you'll actually be budgeted less money fiscal 27 than you're
If we
anticipating
don't have-
spending
correct.
this year.
Correct. I'd rather
A
do
true,
that
a
than.
true cut, not just a reduction.
yeah, this is
growth.
right.
Wait,
Yeah,
what are you comparing those to?
Then again, Frank?
so,
3,500,000 will be the fiscal year 27 if these cuts are enacted. This year, fiscal year 26 actual will be 3,532,000. So budget will be smaller in fiscal 27 than fiscal 26. Not just 1.3% larger, but actually less. To make room, I guess, for the other parts
Yeah.
of the town.
Mhm.
So thank you for your
Yeah.
contribution.
yeah, you can see his level of service went up 61, but he's cutting 93, so. Okay. Any other questions on this for Mo? Ed, you all set on this one? Or how about you, Ashley? You all, any questions?
Nope. Thank you, Mo, for everything.
Sure.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. I hopefully don't get more snow next Sunday. They're saying another big one, but hopefully that doesn't happen.
Oh, yeah, let's hope not. We're all sore from shoveling.
Thanks, Mo.
All right.
Uh,
If there's any issues with your, with your roadways, please call and leave a message.
At the DPW garage, not the town hall.
We gave you Brittany's phone number.
All right. I guess we'll go to Christine Yearstone, the town administrator. We have quite a few here, so.
Okay. So town administrator budget, we are proposing a cut of 1,125, a reduction. We've held it for overtime for hourly staff, so we're cutting that out of the budget. We are also changing, we currently pay for storage space over at Montrose. This building, when it was designed, almost 30 years ago, did not include any expansion space for staff or storage space. And even though most of our documents are electronic, the state makes us keep quite a few paper copies of everything. So we have been utilizing storage space over at Montrose. They're expanding. And while they've offered us some alternative space, one, it's an opportunity to cut the budget. And two, we believe we're going to be able to move that storage space over to the new COA garage once that's completed. In the interim, we're going to be storing it at Bath, and we have clearance from the insurance company, from facilities, that is a safe storage space for our paper files. So we'll be making that cut as well.
Easy counties.
Yep.
You can store files, just not people.
Yeah. Yep. No people, no people, lots of paper.
Yeah, well, just throw them in the door.
Yeah. So that's the town administrator's budget. If there's any questions on that one.
Nope.
Sealer weights and measures. This is actually, we have a municipal agreement with both Medway and Millis. We share a sealer of weights and measures, so we have an intermunicipal agreement. So that is staying the same. Historic Commission has always held a line item for advertising dues and memberships. What they usually use it for is mailings. And we're going to cut $1,500 from that budget and absorb it into the select board budget, where we have a line item for other committee expenses. And so we'll take that from there going forward. And then town meeting wages, we are cutting $1,000 out of this and eliminating that. And we are also cutting the police special detail under the town meeting. We're working with the police officers on that, with the chief.
What was the town meeting wages for? What was that? Like police detail?
Police details, if we needed additional staff that were there for coverage, so we're all working for free.
So, okay. All right.
So that's town report. Select board, you'll see, we are cutting the various committee expenses by $1,000.
Is that, so that's the, is that, you mentioned the historical.
So we're cutting the historic. They don't typically spend it. So if they do have a mailing they need to do, which ironically they did tonight, we will pay for that out of various committee expenses. We believe even with cutting it $1,000, we can manage that. Yeah.
So that's after the add-in of the 50.
Yes.
So the committee expenses, it says 6,389 and then a reduction of 1,000, so it's going to be 5,389.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's net of. You're adding in the historical commission, or you're covering it?
We're just gonna cover it. We're just gonna figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And the various committee expenses, this is the $1,000 that I usually spend on the warrant committee. So I'm cutting your budget by $1,000, and that is the printing of the GFOA. You're gonna have to use it electronically.
Okay.
Or
minutes.
have one copy and share it. It's $1,000.
200.
I would lobby your local select board member when they prioritize their cuts to put you back in.
All right. All right.
Okay, and then we're gonna hold IT until next week. Because of the snowstorm and the snow day for all of us yesterday, I have not had a chance to finalize that with Owen, and it wasn't fair to have him come before you without having had a chance to look at his final budget. So I do apologize for that.
Okay.
Human resources, we're proposing to eliminate the HR generalist position that we had put in and received approval from the budget last year. So that is a cut of $79,738. I will handle HR out of my office, out of the town administrator's office. You'll hear from Georgia later. We are moving the payroll benefits person from part-time to full-time to help us offset some of that onboarding and benefit work that comes with the HR generalist position, since we're eliminating that. that a
So
person?
just so I understand,
This is a person.
is the person currently hired?
No, we've been advertising and we have not filled the
So
position.
we've had it in the budget to hire this person.
Absolutely.
And then, okay, so we're,
So how did we have an actual by 26?
That's what's budgeted.
that was the,
That's the year we're in now. It was budgeted for 79,738.
What was the 34,839 spent on in FY25?
We had a part-time HR generalist and we shared with the schools in the town.
okay. So that basically is one full-time equivalent, basically. that's
Yes.
Getting cut out, okay.
Yeah.
It would be helpful. We make improvements every single year. A couple of years ago, if there any variances and things like that. Would it be possible maybe next year to have the FTEs at the bottom of the top?
Sure, they're also in the front of your GFOA budget that I'm not printing anymore. Page 25.
Okay. School.
But we can add it to this as well. I'm being
It
fresh,
just
but we
gives us
absolutely.
better. For me, anyway.
Yeah.
Page 25.
Right.
Mhm.
You have that reference down.
Yes.
Okay. And then because we are eliminating the HR position, we're eliminating the operating expenses for that department as well. And we'll handle it out of my office.
I apologize, I know it's not new, but the managerial merit / code line, what's that for?
So that is in your budget, what you see in the budgets for each department is you see the step increases that hourly employees have. And then we decide, as we go through the budget, what the general cost of living increase will be. And because we haven't made the final vote on that, we keep it in one line item so that we don't put it in each budget. So this includes a 1.5% cost of living increase for non-union employees and also includes a 1.5% increase managerial merit for department heads.
Thank you.
So that will remain in this budget. Town council, we are not proposing any increase for this year. And just for clarification for our new members, this town council budget includes our general counsel, which is Mark Sorrell, who's on retainer with us. And then it also includes consulting. We have an outside labor counsel, Clifford and Kenny, that we use for any sort of labor relations.
Any questions on that?
Hearing none, I will let Andrew take the hot seat.
Hello.
Well,
So I have a net cut in my budget. My salaries, I had some turnover last year. So I ended up, I hired a new assistant who's making a little bit less money than my previous one. And I also cut a part-time accounts payable clerk. So it's just the two of us in the office now. And then on my operating side, I've got a cut of $20 net. Audit came in 6,000 higher, and then I got a new OPEB consultant that is charging me about half of what the previous one was. So
really, the one that we just got the report from? You're getting your money's worth. He's awesome. Yeah.
so that's pretty much it. I don't
It
have
pays to go out the
Did you say you cut the accounts payable clerk?
yes,
So who's doing it?
my assistant
You're
is.
looking at it.
The assistant town accountant.
So this would have been your budget even without,
I had this planned even before the cuts.
yeah, so good job.
You're always thinking ahead, Andrew.
I'm gonna go to accountant.
Any questions it seems pretty straightforward.
Or we should come up with some questions to say just get off scot-free, but I can't think of them.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now I guess it's Maria. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming.
So for planning and zoning, the only change that we're going to have this year is an increase in office supplies by $1,000. We have historically way overspent that line. So I think I have some of the numbers here. Fiscal 22, we spent $2,400. Fiscal 23, $2,500. Fiscal 24, I came in at the tail end of that and we spent $524 a year, but that's the exception to the rule. Fiscal 25, we spent $1,400. In fiscal 26, to date, we've spent $627 with half the year left. So, part of the reason why we, budgeted, we have $880, which is clearly not sufficient to cover the cost of operating the department. While planning and zoning have a different budget from conservation, I do generally buy all of the office supplies for both departments out of planning and zoning because it is a larger budget, and I try to leave conservation to be more specialized to conservation specific needs as much as possible. So for this, it's, notebooks, pens, paper, folders, and you might be familiar with my scanning initiative that has taken a life of its own as we are scanning and digitizing some of the historic files. I've been needing to replace files. Last year when we got the carpets and I was trying to organize my historic zoning bylaws, the bookcase kind of crumbled. So we had to get a new bookcase. So some of it is just trying to reorganize and update some very old materials.
So just so I understand, Maria, so this line item, office supplies, the 27 request on this sheet has $1,000.
1,000 more. So it's 880 currently, and we're asking for 1880.
Or doesn't say
That's
that.
not what it says.
We don't have to, we'll make that change.
Okay.
Also,
So
you're
that
reading off numbers.
so that
For
1,000 should be
5,
1880.
You said it was how much?
She said 1,400, but it says 880.
It is,
For fiscal 25, it was 1,467.
okay, and this again says.
Yeah, it says 880.
It's what I have here.
No, I'm sure you're right. It's just this document hasn't kept up.
I think it's a typo on our part. We apologize. I think it's on our.
Sorry.
Okay, so you're going to increase the 27 request
Yes.
by another $880 basically, because there's 1,000 in there now. It's going to be, the total will be 1,880. Okay.
You're never getting those GFOA budgets printed.
Yeah, the warrant committee has to sign it.
So that means you have to find that somewhere else to cut. then.
Yeah, we'll take care of it.
Okay. All right. All right. Now, what is the I'm just looking at this sheet here. In the reduction column, there's a $23,000 amount.
We are eliminating a half-time administrative assistant position. It's been vacant for the last 7 weeks. We had a resignation, and at that time I put a hiring freeze on the position, knowing we were going to have a difficult fiscal year 27. Did the hiring freeze, and we're not going to show it. We're going to cut it from the position.
So it's a half of a position, you said?
Yeah, it's about, it's a half-time.
18 hours a week.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So I've absorbed those duties.
You're now an assistant in that. Okay.
You
I can take
give
all
them
the
to your visible assistant.
Yes, I clean all the mailers, all the filings, all the scanning.
Yeah. Okay. So that was in the 136.
Mhm.
And now you're taking it out. Okay. All right.
So it's not like maybe I told her it would be possible to get her part-time high school junior, senior, and help her with this stuff.
They're usually in school during the hours that we would need that person. We do have a college intern who is assisting in the office, as well as a senior tax work officer.
Okay.
Which has been so wonderful.
Any questions on the planning? Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Tim. Tim is next.
Yep. Everyone, see you all again.
Yeah, good to see you.
The only proposed change we have for this year is a $100 increase to our professional development line. And that is for the Massachusetts Association of Conservation Commissioners. The membership to that increases annually. And so that $100 change just reflects that increase. Everything else has stayed the same, but I can answer any questions.
So that's a membership.
Yep, that's a yearly membership for myself, and all of the commissioners.
Is the reduction in salaries you're part of the clerical person? No.
No, Finn was hired at a lower rate than we anticipated when we set the fiscal year 26 budget.
Okay. Well, that seems pretty straightforward. Any questions on what is the consultant's professional fees and the pond maintenance?
So pond maintenance would be for really any work that is done at any of the town ponds that are under the care, custody, and control of the Conservation Commission. This last summer, we just finished a vegetation assessment with a peer review consultant that kind of gave some guidance on how we could move forward with managing the ponds. So it's really just invasive species removal and the different types of ways you can do that, for the different mechanisms you can install into a pond to add more oxygen.
So this is to pay a consultant?
So this one would be to do the actual work that the consultant recommended.
So I'm getting confused. There's an article. Wasn't there an article? It's about another article.
And that was the summer vegetation assessment that we just got. So that should be completed. That was a $20,000 article, I believe. And that's
separate than this 5,000. Because we had an article to deal directly with it. This is.
Well, the 20,000 was more for the pond survey.
Okay.
Figure whether you do the 5,000 spent in their budget every year to actually do some of
To
the
do the
work
actual.
and maintenance. every year.
Okay. Got it.
Is that, I'm sorry, is that 20,000 something, an article that we had last year, the year before? About, okay.
For the pond maintenance, is Hinckley included in that?
I do believe that's under Concom. That could be under the select board as
It
well.
might be deep.
Yeah, I did, Hinkley Pond's gonna come under Parks and Recreation.
Okay. And the consultant, that 5,000, is that to, not the pond maintenance, the 5,000 for consultant?
Yep.
Remind me what that's for?
So that's just for various professional consulting that we need for any projects that pop up. I think for this year we've used 920 so far, and that could be for complicated wetland lines or just any complicated enforcement that pops up, for some town projects as well where we want peer review consulting, sort of just a buffer.
So if a developer is doing a project, they pay for their own consultant, right?
Yeah.
And they pay for the town's consultant too, right?
Yeah.
But that's not what this is. This is
This is over and above.
Above that.
Conservation wants to do their own research,
okay.
find a wetland that we're not comfortable doing ourselves, hire an outside company to come in and do it.
Okay. Right. Any other questions? Thank you, Finn. Appreciate all you do.
Thank you.
Dana. How are you?
Good, and you?
Good, thanks. Like a pretty straightforward budget, but anything you want to highlight in it, Dana?
No, we're pretty much, staying the same.
How many people are in your department now?
Full-time, there are two, so it's myself and my office manager, Scott Allison. And then I have, 3 part-time electrical inspectors and 3 part-time, plumbing inspectors.
Okay.
So,
It does not include inspectors, stipend positions. Can't be charged here.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Just trying to be Christine. It's on page 25.
Great job. Right. Any questions on this budget? I mean, it's pretty much all people basically and some car allowance, mileage, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and health utility expenses. Seems pretty consistent year to year, right? When was the last time we looked at fees, the permit fees, I guess?
It was 2 years ago.
2 years ago? Okay.
Yeah.
And did we increase them or?
We did not. We were at, kind of the average. I have to go back and look at it, but we were generating a significant amount of revenue for the department.
Yeah.
And all our fees were,
They were sufficient?
they were sufficient at the time.
Okay.
Happy to bring that for, the select board again. The select board have the, authority to set the fees, so. happy
Well,
to have
it
that
just seems if they
discussion.
just looked at it 2 years ago, it sounds
Yeah.
like that, yeah.
I'll go back and double check that. It's, what is it? Wait, how many years you think it is plus 5? So I'll just make sure that it was actually 2 years ago and not 7, but it was in the last couple of years.
And do they benchmark it against other towns when they do that? Like they say,
Yes.
They
Yeah.
generally do a circumference around and find out who
yeah,
generally they try to keep them the same as, you know what I mean? They don't try
Yeah.
to go too crazy with it.
yeah, okay. All right, well, I don't have anybody have other questions? Thanks a lot, appreciate all you do, thank you.
Always keeping us safe. Thank you.
That's, it was broken.
Devon, come on up. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. Okay, so my level service budget is at 1%. I just have a couple of increases, small increases in dues, professional development and postage. And then the cut proposed is one of my full-time employees. I have currently have two employees, one full-time and then one part-time at 20 hours. The cut would be the full-time position is going down to 18 hours. And then my other part-timer who is 20 hours, we're increasing that a few hours to make up for it. So it'll be, you see the reduction on the side. So I will be with the cut, I will be at fiscal 24 budget levels. So does anybody have any
This is
questions?
a real cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is gonna be deep into the bone. Okay,
So I'm sorry, I was just trying to take this. So the first person goes from full-time down to 18 hours. And the second person goes from 18 hours up to,
No, she's at 20, she'll go to 28.
well, we appreciate, I mean, this seems like a fairly straightforward budget. I certainly appreciate, what you're doing to help solve the fiscal problem that we have, so.
Of course.
How do you think that will change the department with that reduction? Your day to day?
Well, we'll manage it. I mean, I won't have anybody else besides me on certain days, certain nights, but we'll get through it. It's no problem.
We help each other. Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
You haven't noticed I've been in her office.
Yeah.
Quite a lot. So we do all help each other.
Christine, you're gonna have a tough job prioritizing all this.
I know.
I know Mo helped you with his, but the rest of the stuff will be tough. Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Georgia, last but not least.
Last but not least.
Okay.
So my salary line, so just a few changes. I did have 2 retirements in my office past fiscal year. The salary line includes myself, which is full-time. The collections clerk, which has always been full-time, And the payroll clerk originally was 18 hours. As Christine had previously discussed, we have made the payroll clerk to be a full-time position, so that the payroll clerk, will do the duties of payroll and also the clerical portion of the HR, since we are cutting the HR position from the HR budget. Both positions are open at this point, which will result in some appropriation turnbacks in fiscal year 26. As far as the operating budget,
Excuse me, but this is not an increase in FTEs. You're doing all this within the FTEs that were in the budget. You just have to
correct.
hire them. Okay, that's okay. Okay.
We also, just to add a little more context to that, when we started the budget out last year, we had the halftime payroll person before they retired. They'd been in the job for a significant time to do the payroll and halftime, and we're finding as we were interviewing that we did not have any candidates that were interested in a halftime payroll position.
Yeah.
So kind of forced our hands to move towards that full time on that anyway. And the payroll does support payroll functions for both the schools and the town.
So do we have an HR person? This person's gonna do part of it, so we just no HR for the whole town.
Correct. You're looking at her.
Yeah.
Wait, I thought we said the person, because we haven't hired this person.
Right, currently, right now, Christine handles the higher
How many
situations with HR. Right now, it's pretty much me in the office.
Payroll's doing a lot of HR in terms of paperwork.
Correct.
Person's hired, the whole package.
They'll do the onboarding, the
Explanation,
benefits.
benefits, et cetera.
I'll deal with the issues.
And you would.
So wait,
She will deal with the
you don't deal
hiring.
with the school side though, right?
Not on HR.
Okay.
They have their own HR.
They have their own HR
Yes.
person. I was gonna say, you're not dealing with HR for 500.
No,
That's
So
make
back-
that for 120.
So back to when Emily was a little confused. Previously, we shared the HR position in the school department. The school HR was our part-time HR. And that's
Oh.
where that $33,000 or $34,000 expenditure came from.
Right.
That person no longer works for the town of Medfield. They still are employed by the town, but she no longer does HR for the town.
Although it's
That's the second
significantly.
retirement, or that's?
No,
That's a
No, it was
completely
a
different
choice.
person altogether.
It was,
Yeah.
it was too much
It was
to
a
do
lot of
schools in
work.
town for one person.
Got it.
Um,
Okay.
And so
She now does
she's
exclusively
supposed to be on
school.
schools.
Correct.
She has been tremendous in helping us while we were short-staffed.
Tremendous.
For a little more context, since the retirements, Georgia is running the entire treasurer collector's office.
That's what
and
Jessica was
doing-
about to ask.
Yeah, she is. She does get help from her
It's,
friends,
yeah, I
but-
get a lot of help from everybody.
We have brought in some temporary help, but for the most part, Georgia has been running that entire department for those three positions since about mid-July.
Wow.
But it's a great experience. No, it really is. There aren't many treasurer collectors out there that know how to run their own office when their staff is not there.
Well,
So it's
that's
nice
true.
to be able to see the revenue coming in, and it's nice to see the revenue coming out.
You just don't want to do it for a long period of time.
No, I
It's good to
don't.
have
Do you
separation
guys
of
have anybody
duties.
like interviewing or?
We,
Just finished a round of interviews.
yeah, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
I'm hopeful our auditors don't ding us for not having separation of duties.
Actually, I don't think that that's an issue. No,
Because it all resides within the
Right.
treasurer's office.
yeah, as long as the
Yeah.
town accountant's office does not get involved, I'm okay.
But if something happens to Georgia right now,
We're in big.
we're in big trouble.
No one's in
So
Yeah,
you
don't get-
can't get sick. I'm not being flip. I mean,
Yes,
you're by yourself. If you get sick.
we don't get paid.
doesn't-
Yes.
Wow, that's crazy.
You have so much power.
And you,
I am slowly teaching somebody.
are you doing the payroll for the schools too?
No, Kathy Vanden,
They do their own
they do
payroll.
their own. But a lot of what we do, which was nice when we had the HR for town and school, a lot of it overlaps. There's a lot of overlapping duties when it comes to HR, especially the benefit portion.
Mhm.
Even the payroll processes is, I mean, I pretty much.
I was just say payroll is kind of,
But
The schools enter their own payroll, they maintain their employee records, the town enters their own payroll, we maintain our own employee records. However, I handle the payroll afterwards, transfers and all the
you're
benefits
doing
and all
that
the
for every,
withholdings.
okay, yeah,
Exactly,
okay,
all the accounting,
Okay.
portion.
all right,
how
okay.
often do we have paychecks?
Bi-weekly, we have 26 pays. Yeah, we
Use
switched
it
that a
outside,
while
so you do it
ago.
by yourself, you don't use the outside service.
Oh, no, we do, we
Yeah.
use ADP,
Oh, yeah, I thought,
but,
yeah.
you know,
But it's all manual
it's
entry on.
all manual
Yeah.
entry, it's all manual
Yeah.
entry. It's a nice puzzle. Stop by.
She'll put you to work.
I'll put you to work. Senior work-off program. Oh, no, why?
And is
Should've seen it here. Oh, I mean,
You realize I'm the youngest person on this committee?
oh, no, I didn't mean it that way. I just meant the work-off program. I think we need to change the title of that work-off program. We can't use senior work-off program. I apologize for that. Okay, moving on before I get myself into further trouble.
And how we were designated as a senior for the first time ever. One of our neighbors, who's younger than us, a couple of doors down, she was shopping down at Shaw's. And she calls up my wife, she says, I'm at Shaw's, do you need anything for me to buy for you? She hung up and says, we've now just been the old people. Just got designated the old people.
Okay, in my operations line, I think the only two line items that did go up, obviously the contracted service, the ADP payroll, that is going to have between a 5% and 7% increase, per ADP. To give you an example, we run 26 pays for town and school. The town costs us $400 a pay period. The school is about $1,000 a pay period. There are various exporting reports that we request. Those all cost money. If we need to do something different, an implementation cost, that there's an additional fee. Just to give you an example now, my latest challenge is the OBB, the one big beautiful bill. So we're working with ADP now, a lot of implementation charges that are going to be there too, so that we can properly reflect the overtime earnings for FSLA employees on the W-2s for calendar year 2026.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of that increase is because of the increase from ADP for the additional charges. But a lot of times it's for an additional item that we need or an additional mandate that we have to file.
Yeah.
And then the printing, postage and stationery, I do print my own real estate tax bills. I always have. That's a cost savings. I do not print my motor vehicle excise bills. Those are 14,000 bills that go out in February. I think if I did that, I would need a new printer almost every other year. Postage, I am a treasurer collector that truly believes that a taxpayer deserves a bill each quarter and not twice a year. And a lot of people would say, well, why is that? We could save, some money there. If there was a mistake in your payment, you would owe me interest for the 6 months rather than for the quarterly. So I think our taxpayers deserve a quarterly tax bill for that reason.
The yellow piece of paper?
I'm sorry,
Are you talking about the yellow piece of paper?
the ones that, it's either yellow, green, blue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, as long as you don't get a pink one, you're good.
Okay, I've never seen it.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, alright, cause I don't even look at that, I just.
But first of all, I
comes
think
out
it's
of the,
great
like-
that you do it quarterly,
My wife puts me
but
in
I'm
my
confused
folder.
by you're saying that if you had to do the automobile excise taxes more,
No, excise tax are only once a year.
right, and you said if you had to do more, you'd need a new printer, but you don't say that about the real estate taxes.
because excise tax bills are 14,000 bills. My real estate bills are probably like 3,900 bills a quarter. So it's not a lot. I mean, it's 60.
We have a lot of cars in this town.
There are a lot of, and that's only commitment one. So it's 14,000 bills that will go out on February 25th. That's commitment one. We usually have about 8 or 9 commitments during the year.
What is that?
That's like maybe an
3.5
average of
per
3,
house?
yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
3.5.
It's a lot.
cars, Yeah,
It's a lot.
we love our cars, I guess.
And our dogs.
And dogs.
We have a lot of dogs.
That's a good thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they make everything.
As long as you pick up after them.
And then, office supplies, whether it's my cartridges, my endorsement stamps, your normal office supplies in an office. But the biggest one, the biggest item in my operating budget, obviously, is the payroll. That represents the portion associated with the processing of the town payroll and the school payroll. So it's both. I pay for both.
Yeah.
That's a shared expense.
Okay.
And that's all I have for you.
So you don't have any,
You pay for payroll for the school as well as for town side.
Out of my budget, yes.
so there's no proposed reduction.
Unless Christina has something that she's.
I'm not
proposing.
going to.
Yeah, I was gonna say, all right, well, it's amazing you do all that you do.
Well, we all do.
Support.
We all do. We're all going above and beyond.
Yeah, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very
We
much.
thank you for your time and your efforts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Is there any other departments that we're gonna cover tonight? That's it, okay. Okay, can you pull up the rating agency presentation? So switching gears here, this presentation walks through how Moody's and S&P evaluate municipal finances, what they look for in a town's financial management, and what it means for Medfield as we prepare for major capital borrowings. So the goal really is just to give everybody a clear understanding of the criteria that rating agencies use, why those criteria matter, and how our decisions over the next few years can materially affect taxpayer costs. So, we all know we're entering a period of significant capital investment. The Dale Street School is the most significant, but that's going to be followed by more than $100 billion of additional needs. And so our credit rating is more important than ever right now. So next slide. I know this is elementary, but I want everybody to understand this in case somebody watches this. Credit ratings directly influence the interest rate that the town pays when we borrow. Even a small difference, of a 1 or 2%, a tenth or a two of a percent can compound over a 30-year borrowing. We're preparing for the largest bond issuance in our history with the Dale Street project. And our 20-year capital plan has more than $100 million of needs in the next 2 to 4 years. So we're going to be issuing multiple bonds to address all these needs. And the impact of our rating is magnified, as you can see. It kind of builds on itself. So a strong rating will lower taxpayer costs. A weaker one increases our costs. I think that's really straightforward. Next slide. The core rating principles that the rating agencies use, there's a few foundational ones. First, recurring revenues should fund recurring expenses. When a town uses one-time revenues to support ongoing operations. It signals that there's a structural imbalance. Second, strong reserves and liquidity are key indicators of stability. And the agencies want to see that a town can absorb shocks without scrambling around. And finally, adhering to financial policies and consistently over time matters. Agencies look for evidence that a town follows its own rules and plans ahead. And these principles are kind of the backbone of what both Moody's and S&P, behind Moody's and S&P's methodology. Next slide. So this is what Moody's, this is based on my research, what Moody's looks for. They focus heavily on finances and management. They look at fund balance and cash as a percentage of revenues, not just the dollar amount, but the trend over time. They want to see stability and improvement. They also evaluate the reliance on one-time revenues. If a town's balancing its budget with free cash or other non-recurring sources, that they consider as a red flag. And they place significant weight on a multi-year financial planning and the strength of financial policies. They want to see that the town is proactive and not reactive.
On the reliance on one-time revenues, did they place greater emphasis on recency? Or would we do it now as opposed to having done it a couple of years ago? Did they look at that?
Yes, yes. So if you did it 7 or 8 years ago, that is less important than something that happens in the last 2 or 3 years. Yeah. And so, and we'll talk about that exact issue. There's a letter that we'll go over about that in the packet. But that's kind of Moody's. The next slide is S&P, and their framework is similar, but it emphasizes financial performance and predictability. And they look closely at the relationship between recurring revenues and recurring expenses. Essentially, whether the operating budget is structurally sound. They evaluate reserve levels and whether the town adheres to its reserve policies, and the consistency is very important to them. They weigh long-term capital and financial planning. They also want to see that a town understands its future obligations and has a plan to meet them. Again, predictability in revenues and expenses is a major factor in their scoring. And the next slide is what all this means to Medfield. Medfield's last rating issued 4 years ago was for the water treatment facility bond, and it was an AA1. I know the slide says AA, but it was AA1 was the rating. Given our strong financial practices, particularly in the last 4 years, we may be in a position for a AAA consideration, possibly, but that depends on maintaining our reserves, our structural balance, and our policy discipline. And the financial impact is significant. So just on like a $75 million 30-year bond, an upgrade could save us between $5.8 and $6.7 million in interest, depending on the amortization method chosen. And then a downgrade would cost taxpayers the same amount. So that's a 50 basis point swing between an upgrade or downgrade. That's the cost of that. So you can see it's these decisions that we make now will live with us for quite a while. We have to be careful what we decide. Next slide.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah. Yep.
Have you seen in other towns, did we look at other towns that did these school projects, that their ratings were changing? I have no concept of
I did,
how often this happens,
I
or
did-
does this happen?
I did
Like,
not, well,
how
I,
significant?
yeah, I did not do that research. I mean,
Just curious.
I don't know. I do know rating agencies, they do change ratings periodically, but they have a good reason to do it, you know. And we'll talk about a conversation we had back in 2020 or 2021.
It was, 25.
There's a memo in your packet about that. We'll talk about that. Where they actually called up the town and talked about their concern with our utilization of free cash to balance the budget. Implication being that if we didn't stop that, they would have downgraded us.
What goes below AA1?
Single A. You drop into the single A's. So, just, why it matters now, obviously Dale Street's important. There's a 20-year capital plan. We talked about that. Having multiple issuances back to back is going to magnify any impact of a rating change. I've only,
Nice understatement.
yes, yes. And, protecting our, maintaining strong reserves and avoiding structural deficits and adhering to our financial policies will help protect our rating. So the goal is simple. It's minimize the long-term cost to taxpayers while ensuring the town can responsibly fund its capital priorities. Now, the next, I wasn't going to go through this. I did prepare a memo that goes into a little more detail on this. It's in the packet. I don't know if anyone has any comments on it. I'm happy to take those. I wasn't planning on going through it because it's sort of, the presentation I just gave summarizes what's in the memo. But there is one, if you go through the memo, go back to that. So this is the implications of, an upgrade going from AA1 to AAA. The savings for level debt service and level principal. That's the savings. And a downgrade goes the opposite direction. So, then this is just like a 50 basis point. When you change ratings, it's about a 50 basis point impact on the interest rate. So that's how this is calculated. But to go to because Christine, I'm going to ask you to maybe talk about this memo. To go to the memo, this was, I guess this was December 2019.
So after,
So this is going back just to set the stage. This was after we had a town meeting and we passed overrides.
We had 6 overrides.
We had 6 overrides.
oh, I've been waiting for this history lesson. I asked for this at the joint meeting and.
So we had 6 overrides at for the fiscal year 2019 budget. We received a call from Moody's. We weren't going out for a.
Wait, before you go into this. So you remember that sheet, we went through the history of how we used free cash. And back in these years, we were using it for a period of 4 or 5 years to balance the budget.
Yep.
We weren't buying any capital. We were just using it to balance the budget. That's what was going on back then. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. So we were not going out for an active borrowing, and Moody's called and asked to set up a meeting with us, which is incredibly scary to have them on an off-cycle call you and say they want to talk about it. So they're reviewing our financials every year. They're reviewing what we do at town meeting, and they indicated to us, Nicholas Lehman was the person we dealt with for I think there were 2 borrowings prior to that. They were significantly concerned about the amount of free cash that we were using in the budget. And I think specifically in fiscal year 2019, we used close to $1.8 million of free cash to balance the budget. So they were concerned and basically giving us a warning that we were going to lose our sound financial position. They did not like the amount of reserves we had at the time. We also had some MFBA reimbursement money that we're using to offset the budget, some other available fund as we do. That was declining and we didn't have any additional sources of revenue to offset that. So they were really concerned about where we were. We really stressed our case that we had brand new financial policies. We were moving towards weaning ourselves off of using free cash to balance the budget. Our policies would allow us to build up those reserves, and they held our bond rating at that time. And then we went out for the wastewater treatment plant and held our bond rating. But that was specifically because we were adhering to our financial policies, relying a tremendous amount less on free cash to balance the operating budget. And we started the municipal building stabilization fund. So we were making that impact and starting to, make an investment into our capital projects as well.
And we replenished the general stabilization fund.
General
It
stabilization.
was over $2 million. Because at this time it was depleted.
It was depleted, which
Yeah.
was, related to this is how we got ourselves in trouble during COVID. And we had some initial layoffs and some significant cuts to the budget because we didn't have the money to pull from general stabilization, rainy day funds that other towns did. We hadn't built that back up after using it for several years.
Yeah. So that, you convinced them at the time, which was you had just adopted a new financial policy. That was the old one that said we're going to maintain 2.5% in free cash, unused free cash. So since then, we've really, I think we're in a strong position to argue that maybe we should be under consideration for an upgrade.
Absolutely.
So we've been at AA1 since then.
Since then, the last
So,
borrow we
yeah,
had
I
was
2021, the wastewater treatment.
Given all the work that's been done over the last 3 or 4
Yeah,
years.
we have a new financial
would
policy.
think that we'd be,
I think we're a strong contender.
yeah,
Do we
Yeah.
request it of them, or do we wait for them to?
We would, when we go out for our next borrowing, they do that as part of the whole process.
Wow, that's stressful.
Yeah. And you could ask them to come in and take a look early, I guess, in anticipation of that part. Yeah.
And when we say 50 basis points, it's 0.5%.
0.5%,
So
yeah.
I usually find myself saying that, and people, oh, it's only an extra 0.5%.
over 30 years.
Over 30 years, we're talking millions of dollars here, so.
Yeah.
And one of the other things they were concerned with at the time was our OPEB funding, which we've done a much better job on doing that.
Yeah.
They do not like to see collective bargaining agreements that are not settled in a timely fashion. So back in 2017, I think we had 2 that were over a year within the evergreen clause. So we brought all of those up to speed. We've negotiated the last contracts within the time frame. So I think we really made a strong argument to go to the additional higher bond rating.
Yeah. I mean.
We should celebrate.
What was that, Peter?
I just attribute to you for pulling this together as much as you have. Really great.
Well, I think, it's a team effort, schools, town, warrant committee, select board, school committee, we're all working towards this school project,
So
so.
if you were grateful to the warrant committee, you have the GFOA.
Because you know what, I have to submit my list of requests and rankings for the select board, and that will be my #1 restoration, just for you.
Thanks, Peter.
We do, just for the record, we do have a budget of 0.
Haven't much of 0. We absorbed you into our other committee expenses.
We've always had a budget of 0.
You had $300 for a while.
Oh, really? Not since I've been
I
here.
think that cut that in 2015, but you did have $300 for a while.
All right.
Start writing checks.
Any questions on this? I was thinking of putting that memo on the website along with the free cash memo.
I searched everywhere for that.
Sorry, which memo? Which memo? Oh, the Moody's.
I remembered in my head, and I was like, where is it?
I'll make sure it's up there.
It isn't, it's almost.
No, I'll put it in the budget.
So I was, yeah, the internal memo, the
Yeah.
memo I wrote on the rating agencies, I think should go on the warrant committee website along with the free cash.
Yep.
Yeah,
We'll get all that up there.
unless anybody has any suggestions to change it, okay. Okay, any questions on any of that so far? Okay,
No, but it's useful to have that laid out in light of the discussions that are likely coming down the pike in the next couple of months.
And posting that to the website, I think. Great idea.
okay, okay, all right. All right. So our next agenda item is an update on our budget. This is good news. This is good news, guys.
Okay.
Yes, good news.
Wow.
Relative.
State funding?
It's better than
It's-
bad,
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not fantastic news, but it's,
but it could be worse.
Like,
we weren't sure going into the, municipal,
Brittany, you'll be able to.
Put your second face for the
You'll be able to
roadside
present
secured
this.
truck.
Not being left-handed, but I'll try, you know.
Because it's not in
No,
the
it has-
packet, so.
I don't have it in that format.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've dealt with nothing but bad news for the last couple of weeks. I'll take something that's not bad.
We'll get it posted tonight before we leave.
Okay,
We'll get it posted tonight.
you'll
before we leave.
post it what, to the,
We'll post it to the website tonight before we leave.
okay.
Yeah.
all right, Great.
I think we,
Probably do it tomorrow morning.
no, I.
You'll rush to the website tonight.
I think we literally finished this at 6:59 as you were starting.
Okay, I'm gonna turn this over to you then. too.
Okay, so I want to go through, I've highlighted everything that's changed from the initial budget guidance that the warrant
Wow,
committee
that's
gave.
awesome.
Now I feel like I'm yelling.
It's so loud.
So on Friday, we were at Connect 351 and the governor speaks and she gives her presentation on, basically the state of the town and follows up from her presentation the night before and announced that she would be increasing state aid. Now, she announces that increase as a 4.4% increase because that is a 4.4% increase over what she initially recommended in her budget. So it's not a 4.4 over what we actually received in state aid. But nevertheless, this number has been updated. So this 9,464,215 is what the governor is presenting in her budget for local aid.
So just to make sure everybody's clear. So that represents a 4.4% increase over the 26 budgeted number.
Yeah.
Okay, when we did our budget, we did as a 2.5% increase over the recap number.
And
Okay,
Yeah.
so it actually came,
100,000 more.
it actually comes out very close to what we estimated.
it's
The dollars.
Yeah, it's an increase of $511
It's
over
like
what we had
very
estimated.
Hey.
So we were pretty.
More than our problems were solved.
There's half the printing fee, right?
It's just like.
Well, no,
we were- no,
we're getting to the good news.
That part is good news
Look at the-
because we were
look at-
worried that we were not being as conservative as we normally are. So we were a little nervous going into that meeting. I think Brittany and I were literally sitting on the edges of our seat, waiting for her to announce what that number would be. So we're happy it's not less than what we had anticipated. Because that would affect our guidance. So even though it's not an increase, we're happy it's not a decrease.
Greater than zero.
Yeah, so we're happy.
$500.
Okay, and just to point this out, I've given you a little key on the back.
Yeah, if you look at the
That's
back.
color coded. That may be helpful as we go through this.
Okay, there's the 511.
But
Boy, when did you put this?
But just, you're gonna go through the details, but just to give you the headline, the 1.3% guidance now goes to 1.8. Okay, you can go through.
So we're at 1.8. So let me break down how that happened. So we've had an increase in our other available general funds. And that is $100,000 increase. Now, let me explain how that's going to break down because we've also had some costs associated with that. So the Board of Assessors are going to release $100,000 from their fiscal year 26, the year we're currently in, overlay account. They have finished their abatements, they have finished their senior tax work-off, and they have finished all of their exemptions at this point. So they have $100,000 they can release back to the town. 25,000 of that 100,000 is going into general revenue. 75,000 of it is going to cover the snow and ice deficit that we have after the Martin Luther King Day storm and the storm we just had this weekend. So we know we're running a deficit. So that overlay is going to offset that deficit so that we're not capturing that on the recap for the fiscal year 27 tax rate.
Right.
I've talked this through all day long. And that is not as straightforward as I probably explain it to you. So we can go through that again, but let me get through all of this and I can explain the overlay again. Okay, so we have an increase in the other available funds. Our workers' compensation insurance, we are decreasing this budget by 17,000 over the last budget guidance. We have completed our workers' compensation audit. And we feel these numbers, based on the ranges that they gave on Friday at the Mass Municipal Conference, we feel comfortable with this number. These are still estimates. I won't have the actual numbers till mid-February, but we feel comfortable with these. We are also reducing our property, general liability, and professional insurance, and that's coming down approximately $18,000 over what we estimated. Now, the big budget number is our health insurance. On Thursday, the Maya board voted not to include GLP-1 coverage, which we had anticipated. Prior to that being voted, our increase would probably have been closer to 19 or 19.5%. With the decision to not cover that, our health insurance increase is estimated at 10.5. So that, gives us 240,000 essentially back into our budget from what we anticipated, almost 241,000.
That's just that decision.
That one, yeah.
That one decision.
One policy decision, yeah.
Yeah. Now it will still be covered, just for clarification, that will still be covered for people who are diabetic. This is just for weight loss.
Oh, that's good.
So that.
Yeah. So that will still cover.
The dollars still cover the additional people you think are coming in, it still covers how many people do you
So right now-
estimate would join during?
So right now, these are our December numbers. I'd like to look more at our January numbers, because by January, we know anybody who did their open enrollment in October and November. But I won't have January numbers till mid-February. So we may see a little movement on that. But I don't anticipate a huge
It's not gonna.
increase. I don't think it's gonna,
It's not gonna change it.
it's not gonna give us enough of an increase on that. But we were incredibly happy with the 10.5. The Norfolk County retirement number has changed. And that is just to reflect the 2.5% prepayment discount that they are offering to us this year. But that also reduces the amount we're taking from the pension reserve fund. So that is actually just a wash. But I didn't want you to see a number change and not have a call out on that.
Did everybody understand
I
that?
did not.
It's kind of,
Okay.
so we budgeted an assessment from Norfolk County for pension.
Right.
And then we run that through that spreadsheet, right? And we decide how much we're gonna take out of our own reserve, right? To offset the increase in the assessment.
Mhm.
The assumption for the assessment didn't take into account that we were pay it all. We didn't know if they were gonna offer an early payment discount. Now we know, and if you do that, your assessment goes down, which also means you don't need to take as much out of the pension reserve, right? So it nets to zero, basically is the point.
But I didn't want you to see a change in that line item and not have an explanation as to why. So if we go down further.
Can I just go back to the health insurance? real quick?
Sure.
On the back, you guys say increase of 1.5 versus 15, but like in the old document I have, it was 18, and then this one it's 14.
So it's 18 because it's over what we had budgeted prior, and we had 6 people join the health insurance we hadn't anticipated in fiscal year 26. So we were budgeting a 15% increase. The amount of that budget was also
rate.
higher
Yeah, I get
based
it.
on the
Yeah,
number of
okay.
people.
The 15 and the 10.5 are rates.
Yeah,
That's actual rate changes.
Got it.
yeah.
But when you
I'll
add
update
in
that.
new people, it gets to 18.
I get it. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, thank you.
We'll make that a little clearer before. we
That's not
post
like
that.
a huge deal. I just didn't.
Nope, it's a good question.
10.5 goes to 14.3.
Right, and that's because we had additional people join after we had closed that.
Yep.
Okay, so going down to fiscal year 27, these are the expenditures not requiring appropriation. So you are allowed to run a snow deficit. So if you saw our snow budget earlier, you would see that we increased it by $1. So Mass General Law, which they have changed, but some traditions I just can't let die. You have to increase your snow and ice budget by $1 every year. That was the old rule, in order to be able to run a snow deficit. So we do that every year. And the reason why we don't increase our snow and ice budget for what we think it's going to be is because we just went through a period of 5 years with very little snow. Last year, I think, is the first year in 5 years that we actually went into a snow deficit. So you'll see on here, under the fiscal year 26 recap, we actually had a snow deficit of $82,803. That snow deficit happened after the budget guidance was set and essentially after our budgets were set. So we did not go back and try and fund that snow deficit. So when the assessors go through and when Yvonne goes through with Andrew and does the recap, we have to put that on there as a deficit spend. Knowing already right now that we're going to have a deficit in snow, we're proposing taking $75,000 from that overlay surplus and pay for that snow deficit now. And the reason why I would recommend that we do that is because we aren't as conservative in our local receipts as we have been in the past. We aren't as conservative in our estimates. And I'm worried that if we are really close, we may not have that 75,000 wiggle room when we go to set the tax rate. So I also think we know about it now. We should handle it now and not let it run as a deficit.
We have at least a couple more months of potential snowstorms.
Yes, I keep hearing a rumor about this weekend, but Mo and I are ignoring all noise about that for at least another 24 hours.
How come on the old one, there wasn't anything listed for FY 26?
So we didn't budget for a snow deficit. So we used to budget, when I first took over the budget back in 2019, sometimes we would budget $150,000 or $200,000. If you don't spend that, it closes to free cash. We made a decision as we started doing the budget in 2019 that it wasn't fair to put $150,000 or $200,000 in there when our snow deficit wasn't even coming close to that.
What
So-
does snow deficit mean again? Like
So-
what amount you use for snow?
So we have our snow budget. I don't have the number off the top of my head. Say the snow budget is $200,000.
Yeah.
We're going to blow through that and we could end up with $289,000 by the end of the year. We don't have an appropriation for the 289, only the 200.
Yeah.
So there are very few line items in your budget you're allowed to deficit spend and carry it into the next year. But at some point you have to pay for that deficit.
Okay.
So when you
Got it.
put it on the recap,
Okay.
you're basically paying with any of your overages
Right.
that you know, from
Right.
state aid or your local receipts.
Yeah.
So this year, I'm just a little more nervous about doing that. Is $75,000 enough? I'm not sure yet. But I would rather have a $25,000 expenditure on our recap versus $100,000.
Yeah.
So that's my recommendation on that, but you have some time to think about that. The other item is state assessments. And we had estimated slightly higher than what the governor issued on her state assessments on our cherry sheets that came out on Friday. It's not much, but it's less than, it's still a little bit.
$4,000.
Yeah. And then now I want to talk
That's a
about,
negative, right? State assessments, that's
Mhm.
what you have to pay back.
Right, yes.
now, forget everything I just told you about 26 overlay. Because now I want to talk about the 27 overlay, which is what we're estimating for next year's budget. Originally, that was $225,000. Yvonne and the Board of Assessors have met, and they've decided that they think their overlay for fiscal year 27 only needs to be 200. So I'm changing that budget amount from 225 to 200. So that 25,000, is back again available for revenue versus the fixed cost.
It was 225 on the prior one.
Prior one was
Yeah.
225, and they've dropped that to 200.
Yeah.
Not a lot of 26 budget too.
Yeah.
So all of that equals more revenue, less fixed costs, which increases, we've gone from 1.3% guidance in our budget to 1.8%
For 27.
for 27.
And for 28, it goes from 1.6 to 2.1.
Correct.
In fiscal 28. So, maybe a little bit helps, right? I mean, it doesn't solve the problem, but it's moving in the right direction. It's helpful.
Should we
It
maybe
means,
not?
it means maybe there's less teachers that have to,
Yeah,
reduced or an FTE here or there. I mean, it's real money, so that's the difference.
Yeah, the difference in the 1.3 and the 1.8 for the town is just under 80,000, and for the schools, it's approximately $239,000. So
239,000 for the school.
That's great.
Yeah.
Love.
I think Jeff will be happy.
I think we should all be happy.
Yeah.
Can I just make a point about the health insurance? Like, I wonder if we should do the 10.5 for Y28, just saying. Everything we've talked about, I don't know if we can just be like, oh, cool, it went from 15 to 10.5 this year, when they made a one-time change. I don't know.
You want to go higher in 28?
I would think so. I mean, we spent like a whole meeting talking about how it was gonna be 15 for the next 3 years or more, and then.
But if it's a
10.5,
policy
yeah.
change of not covering GLP-1s, and the effect of that reduces it this year, and but the assumption is that they wouldn't go back on that. They would continue that policy. So we would have the savings for both years, I would think.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I agree with that, but I also wrestled with this when I was looking at 28 yesterday. And the reason why I left it at 10.5 is because our PEC agreement with the unions is expiring. And I assume we're all going to work collaboratively together to make changes to that to reduce the cost for the town and significantly to the employees. So
Changes and
plan design changes, all of that.
the
So
GIC is going through changes too.
they're going through significant plan design changes. So I left it at the 10.5, but I think that will change for next year. I just don't know what, we're going to try to get it down as low as we can.
I know, it's
I mean,
it's too much whiplash for me right now to be like, oh yeah, it was like 15,
I mean,
18, 19.
Well, I
now
think
10,
that
it's just my thought. We don't have to go with it.
Well, I think to put it in perspective, the health insurance increase, if we did not remove the GLP-1s, was going to go between 9 and 22%. Making that decision to not cover them makes the range 2 to 14%, with the average at 8.9. So it did have a significant change in that rating.
Yeah, and I assume they wouldn't be changing this policy every year, back and forth, so.
No, but there was some discussion at the business meeting that this is a 1-year discussion. And if costs change, then that, discussion is open every year for the board to take under consideration. And depending on what other.
If costs go down, they might put it back in.
Correct.
I don't think costs are going down.
You gotta believe that within the 10.5, they have cushion.
Yeah, I mean, well, you have to, because even though you have to anticipate that some people are going to be able to convince their doctor to cover it. So I has to be some of that built in.
for that.
All right, that's fine.
All right, any other questions on this? Or Christine? So you will post this onto the website,
Oh, yeah.
the budget website?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah, and we can add it to your packet as well. If you
so
want.
I would like, what I'd like to do is, if people agree, I think, if people are comfortable with this, I think that we should get this guidance out right away to the school and the towns. Like I could send an email tomorrow. I think we should vote on it, and if we approve it, get an email out. Because the school is having their budget hearing on Thursday. And it would be helpful if they could collect the new guidance in that.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So everybody in agreement with that?
Yeah,
Shall we take a vote on it then? A motion to approve the updated guidance?
Updated guidance.
Second.
Okay, take a vote.
Yes.
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 Yes,
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
and Ashley?
Yes, great
Okay.
news.
Yes,
Thanks, Ashley.
yes. All right.
not to be. I fully support this. Is there any chance Mike or Francesca doesn't know this as we're speaking right now?
No,
He does not?
no, he knows
He
it.
knows.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, yeah.
So this will not be news to them on January 29th at the school department.
No, it'll just be official, that's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
And I
official-
haven't had a
official
chance.
Now, the warrant committee's approved it.
And I literally finished
Oh,
this
sorry.
really, really nice budget worksheet about 6:59, so I haven't had a chance to send it to them yet. But I did screenshot what their increases were, so they do have those.
Okay, thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
And thank you for all your hard work on this.
Yes.
No, everybody today has been working to try and work through it, so it's all good. Good team.
Great. All right, where are we on our agenda here? The next agenda item was the January 15th school committee meeting. Now, I put this on here because I heard from a lot of you about some concerns that with that meeting, and I thought would be, and there was some of you wrote emails, I put them in the packet, but I thought it would be helpful just to maybe have a brief discussion about it as a group. And before we do, I would just say this, I think since that meeting, we have had Ed and I had a working group meeting with Michelle Kirkby and Jeff, Mike LaFrancesca, and Gus Murby, and was, I think, very productive. I think everybody came away with a good understanding of trying to move forward as one community, both towns and schools, and trying to educate people and be transparent on things. So, but having said that, I think we probably should talk about, the school committee meeting and just, because I think it's, I know there were a lot of concerns, so,
Well, there were, but given what you just reported, that things have taken.
Well, and that's a subgroup of the full committee, right? That's just, there was only the chair there.
Okay.
So.
I just don't, I mean, I could talk a lot like I always do, but I don't want to roil any waters if we're making progress towards going forward more cooperatively is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, that's the hope, I guess, but it was not, it was just a smaller group, you know what I'm saying? It
Right,
wasn't-
yeah.
So I can't speak for the whole school committee, but yeah. I mean, I read the emails, I think they're pretty clear. I think some of the concerns, And I think, I think this is a tough subject. I think everybody's emotional about it. And it's never easy when you have to talk about cuts. But, the other thing is, I think Ed's reached out to
Michelle.
try to have an educational session and answer questions with Michelle and Diane,
Diane,
Priscilla, yeah, and the two co-chairs, I guess.
basically, I came away from that after watching it. There's a lot of members of the school committee who really just don't understand the process we go through. And I think if they did, a lot of the comments that were said wouldn't have been said. So I just think it's maybe it's time for us to spend more time with Michelle and another representative to walk through this financial and answer their questions and talk about reserves and talk about how we spent free cash and let them see that. So they're better equipped the next time they go into one of those meetings and has the answer to some of the questions that some of the other committee members might ask them. So we're trying to put that, get dates and.
Yeah.
I have some time scheduled as well, one-on-one
Okay,
with two people on the school committee.
okay, good. Yeah.
To try to do that too.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm open to a public session, but maybe these one-on-ones are better to educate people. I think that the fear I have is that there's misunderstanding and people make statements like, one interpretation of some comments could be, well, the warrant committee is sitting on a bunch of cash and hoarding this cash and, trying to screw the school department. I mean, it's like, that we all know that's not the case here. And those types of things are not
Can't
helpful.
even get a GFOA budget.
So, I just think that it's important that we all try to, reach out. Individually is great. I think it's great that you're meeting with them, Emily, and try to educate as much as possible. So there's not misunderstanding about facts.
Mm-hmm.
We shouldn't have a misunderstanding about basic facts. We might have a misunderstanding. We may have differences of opinion, but basic facts we should have a common understanding about.
Right. Yeah. I mean, one of the lines at the meeting was about there's seven. I'm going to misquote it now. I'll get into trouble. Something like
It's right in my email.
$7 million of undercounted revenue or something like that. That's not the precise language. It's in Emily's email. But, we don't. If that's free cash that
Right.
you're referring to, we use that for certain purposes and the rest goes into reserves.
Right. Right.
And stuff. And it doesn't, I think, help public discourse to characterize it.
Right.
Because again, back to your point of, we really don't want the citizens in the town thinking there's a bunch of money sloshing around that we could use if we just had the will to do so. We don't.
Right. Right.
I do think one of the comments that really got under my skin was that the makeup of the warrant committee was people that either didn't have kids or whose kids had aged out and gone through the school system. And when I look around, I know there's 4 or 5 of a 9-person member committee here who have kids in the school system. So
6 of 9.
Yeah, so
That's really just Ed, myself, and Peter
yeah, so
that don't have kids. Currently in the system.
right.
Yeah.
So it's not that we're detached or not affected by it any longer. In fact, the majority do. And when we sit here and we say, like, the school, for the school to have level services, initially 5.19, then 5.01, have a majority of the folks sitting on the warrant committee having kids in the school, and then to hear comments about how well the warrant committee and it really, I don't think was helpful for public discourse in this very difficult conversation because it is going to affect our children who are in the schools and, my kids are going to be in Medfield public schools for the next 15 years. Like this isn't something that's in the rearview mirror and, it's a problem facing the whole town. I think we're all rowing together, or should be rowing together, rather than try to point fingers and cast blame, which I get is probably, I don't want to put words in people's mouths here, but when you've got a room full of teachers and constituents who voted for you, maybe it's easier to want to blame somebody who's unelected or not in the room. But if somebody wants to blame me, fine, go ahead. But I've got kids. A lot of people here have kids. These budget challenges are very tough. But I don't think there's anybody here that's purposely out to get somebody. All of our kids are going to, feel the impact here. And all of us as, townspeople are going to be feeling the impact of, the town department budget cuts. So, yeah, I just know that the day after the meeting, I got a couple of messages from people asking me why I was part of the, and as long as nobody shows up on my front door with a pitchfork, that's okay. But the tone really kind of got under my skin a little bit. I didn't send an email like some of you braver folks, but
Well said.
it did bother me.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I think that's exactly how I felt. And the only thing I'll add, because you can read what I wrote, is that my intention is to build relationships so that something like that doesn't happen again, because everyone at that meeting and everyone that was watching isn't relatively informed or involved in the warrant committee, which is like 99% of the population, is going to take away a pretty negative view of the rest of the town, right? That isn't the school department, and it was really unfair. And I think the only way that you can undo that is by building trust and relationships, because I don't think anyone is out to get anyone. I think that the facts are the facts, but I wish I had more time. I think the problem is us parents are the busiest people around.
Right.
Right? Because like we have jobs and kids and activities, and like I'm doing my best, but
Right.
we all have very limited free time. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna do my little part, but my intention is not to like take sides. Like my intention is really just to like call out what I thought was pretty disrespectful speech, but to join and say like, I want the same thing as you do. I want to fund the school department.
Yeah.
I want to do that, but we also have to face reality,
Yeah. Brent, do you have anything you want to say? No, you're okay. Yes, Peter.
Just one thing to add, my kids are out of the school system, but I consider myself a strong proponent of the school system, but also just listening tonight to some of the other cuts, like what Mo was talking about. God knows, the treasurer's office running on one person. I mean, this town doesn't have a lot of fat in it, and it's gonna have even less money to spend next year, the way things are going. I'd like to see relief for the whole town, but yeah, very much for the school department as well.
Yeah. I mean, if we're going to see our way through this, we have to come together as a community. We can't be pointing fingers and blaming other committees or other departments. So hopefully these smaller groups, the outreach that we're doing will education will help move that.
I think that's key.
Yeah.
It's just gotta, I think if they understand, a lot of those comments probably would not have been made.
Yeah.
They gotta understand first.
Yeah.
That was my takeaway.
Yeah. All right. Anything else on that topic? I think we've exhausted that. Okay, the last item before committee updates is, so this year I thought it would be helpful, given the number of articles and to get more people involved, is to maybe assign, now this is not meant to put all the responsibility on one individual to write a report. But working with Christine and Brittany, in the past, they've done a pretty good job of sort of coming up with a first draft based on what we collectively, you know, voice our views on. And so it's sort of taking leadership and making sure, you know, working with her to make sure that it does reflect what we've all kind of said. And these will, obviously, the first draft will be a majority opinion. And if there is a minority, you know, the minority will have to work on that opinion. But I think I took, so having said that, I don't want you to get nervous about you have to do all the work, okay? But it's sort of, these are important documents, they're important reports. And I just think having ownership assigned to a lead person helps. And I think a lot of the heavy lifting will be done initially by Christine and Brittany, but we will have to put our finishing touches on it, you know, so. And then obviously the whole committee will have to approve it, whatever we draft, it's approved by the whole committee. So this was my very first attempt of assigning articles. The financial articles, don't ask me why I picked some of these. If it was obvious you worked on a particular budget, I tried to keep, and there's an article in that budget, I tried to assign it to you. You know, if I thought you had a particular expertise, like Pete, I think I assigned you some special legislation. Two articles on special legislation.
Yeah, I've got it.
You know, so I think like Ashley's got the two conservation articles. You know, there's articles all over the board. I think the other thing is if you have an interest in an article, there's no stopping two people from working on it. So just reach out to the person who's got the lead on it and say, I'd like to help on that, you know? But if there's something on here you would rather not be assigned to, let me know that, I guess.
Steve, responsibility to come up with that one paragraph at the bottom of the motion, that sentence.
So we usually.
No, not the motion.
Oh, not the motion.
No, the warrant committee report.
Oh, the warrant committee report.
Yeah, not the motion.
No.
Yeah.
No, they will, no,
We own the motion.
they're gonna let the people know what they're doing, write the motion.
Move that they do it.
No, this is,
There's a guy who knows how to handle.
I mean, we're gonna hear about all these articles in more detail, right? And we'll talk about them as a group and express our views. You know, so we'll have input, and that's usually what ends up in the report, right? Is how we vote. The rationale for why we voted the way we did.
We're gonna have two more.
Oh, God. You're kidding. We have
Let's talk about that 1.8 again.
how many we had?
Yeah.
How many do we have so far?
Well, this is why we don't assign numbers to them because
Oh,
we might have met. They're gonna open the warrant at the next select board meeting. We have to add one even though I talked about the overlay for the 75,000, there has to be a specific vote to, even though it's reflected in the budget, it'll be in the budget worksheet. I need an actual vote, to do that.
Okay,
And the other one is the select board wanted to keep open in case there's a discussion about doing some sort of medallion or some sort of program to offset the cost of doing the dog poop at the state hospital.
okay,
They want to investigate the possibility of charging people additional to walk at the state hospital and offset the cost of picking up the dog poop.
they want an article to basically restore,
Oh, you can throw that on me.
fund it a different way.
Well done.
Yeah, okay, you got
I'm
that
not
one,
even
that's
worried
great.
about the-
All right, we'll put you on that one. Now, I should point out, this is not all the articles. The routine articles are not on here. And there's quite a few routine articles. I didn't put those on
Like the
here.
operating budget is.
Yeah, overlay.
Yeah.
All the routine ones are not on here because the report is very standard every year. We don't have to really think about it, you know. Okay, so, so this is,
Move to approve the capital appropriation that's created by Brett Nelson and set forth in the accompanying document.
I mean, so if you, after the meeting, you can come up and tell me or shoot me an email if you want to make a change to this, let me know.
Will can we get the copies of these warrants?
They haven't even been fully all drafted. Since we just closed the warrant last week, they'll start to
But
draft.
so I've been assigned the specialized energy code. That must have been drafted already.
That one is drafted.
And also the Conservation Commission water wells, that's been around for a couple of years, same language.
I have not seen what they want to change the language to.
Yeah, they're talking about,
So, to do a good job, I'm just gonna take both of these as an example. I would want to contact the Medfield Energy Committee, right?
Absolutely.
And then I would and for the wells, I'd want to talk to, the Conservation Commission, but also probably talk to Mo,
Mhm.
et cetera. I mean, there's some research to be done.
Absolutely. Energy
The sooner the
committees,
better.
energy committees, ready. I was at their meeting, last week or the week before. And they can't wait to come talk to you about it. So they're ready.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, so I can put you in touch with somebody this
Okay.
evening. They're ready. And unfortunately, the Thursday's there. They're doing the pizza.
Oh, yes.
Thursday at noon at the Council on Aging, they're doing kind of a pizza lunch for anybody who's interested in learning more about it.
You could do that instead of the tenure.
Sure, yeah. This week's really bad. I'll go over so well.
the two citizens petitions I talked about, Peter Saladino is working on the Warrant Committee questionnaire. He said he was working on it in the next couple weeks, would have that for us, I think. Like I said, I haven't heard from Christian, but so there's a lot of, I fully appreciate your comment. There's a lot here for
Oh,
us to
absolutely.
get our arms around.
Why don't we take that list that's been assigned to everybody
Yeah.
and we'll email out contact people for you to talk to. And some of that might be just talking to us and some of it might be other committee members, especially for the two that you have. So. Yeah, there we go.
All right. Committee liaison updates.
No updates since last time.
All right.
They're moving away.
How about you?
We're meeting on Friday
Oh,
morning, though I can't recall what the agenda is.
We haven't posted the agenda yet, but it'll be, some good updates actually for the committee. So we're excited to share
So next time.
some good news.
We'll have some.
oh, yes, I know what that is. Yeah, you'll like that. Great. All right. Anything else? Anybody having no additional discussion? Oh, yes.
I just make one factual point. Legally, school committee is supposed to make the budget available 48 hours before a public hearing. It is not available right now. It's supposed to be at either the superintendent's office or it's supposed to be available to somebody. Cannot find it anywhere.
think, because Mike just got the new numbers, which is changing their numbers, and that's what, and they just got it, what, 4 or 5 hours ago.
Not even 2 hours ago.
So I'm not speaking for Mike, but I think that the practical reason, I understand that not 48 hours, whatever, but I think that's probably the reason. Is
The only reason
they're trying to do it.
I bring this up though too, is that on the town side, I can see the budgets all the way through for months, for weeks and weeks, because there's so much discussion, either at the select board meeting, school committee. It is virtually impossible for anybody in this community to be able to see details on the school committee budget until the public hearing happens. So they have a responsibility to make that available 48 hours in advance. If it changes for the better, great. But they have a legal responsibility to make that budget available 48 hours in advance to the public. So it is an ongoing issue for years and years that this has happened. It's very frustrating. As a member of the public, as someone who's trying to educate the public, it is very frustrating. So I appreciate everything that everyone is doing on the town side, because there's every question that anyone needs answered, you can find it right away. And you can on the school side. So.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
Second, okay.
Yes.
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 Yes,
Yes.
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 and Ashley? Ashley, do you fall asleep?
So simple.
Well, I think we have a
I'm
majority.
here. Sorry, the dog had the phone. The dog had the phone. The dog ate my homework. I'm here and I vote to end it.
I was gonna drive by and do a welcome check. Okay, I do there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.